Hi everyone, welcome back to Lair Academy. It's Mickey again, and in this lesson, I'm going to show you a little eloquent sorting trick. In the multiple projects I have worked on, I've always needed the ability to sort my data. Sometimes it's just an easy one-column sort, but other times I need the ability to sort based on multiple columns. And we'll use this user listing as an example. You can see in front of me I have a user listing of approximately 500 users, and they're all just random information. Let's pretend we want to sort this user listing based on the city. Well, if we switch back to our IDE and we open up the user controller, you can see right here, and we'll just replace the all function with an order by, and we can easily pass in the city and then tell it to get data. Now, if we switch back to Chrome and refresh, the city is now sorted. But what if we actually wanted to sort on city, state, and country? Well, there's a few different ways that we could do this. The first way is we could append on a whole bunch of order bys like this. We could say also order by the state, and we also want to order by the country. And let's save this and give it a refresh. Now, this is going to work out just fine. Can't really find any of the cities here that are separate, but basically it will order the state and country. But if we take a look at our code, it's definitely not the nicest code, and we can't really reuse this in multiple places. What we're actually going to do is we're going to extract this out into what's called a scope. So let's open up our user.php and go all the way down. We'll create a new method, and this function is going to be called scope order by array. We'll pass in the query builder, and then we'll pass in an order array. So this function will loop through the order and assign a column variable and also the sort direction. And what we're going to do for each of the columns, we're going to append on the query builder. So we could say query equals query, and then we want order by, and we'll pass in the column name and then the sort direction. And finally at the end, let's make sure we return the query builder. Alright. So what this has done for us is we can come back to our controller and remove all of these order bys. And we can pass in a single array and make it much cleaner and reusable. Now, I'm going to create an array at the top of my user controller class. You could create it anywhere you want, but I'm going to be using this in other places. So we could just say protected sort by, and we'll pass in the city, which will be ascending, again the state, and a country as well. Now, if we come down to our index, instead of using all the orders, we'll just use the scope order by array. So we'll get rid of these, and we'll pass in our array, which is the sort by, and we'll bring this line up just to make it a little nicer. Now, if we save everything and we refresh, nothing should change. But let's go back and let's change the order of city here. If we go back to our controller, instead of ascending, we'll put descending. Make sure we save it and refresh. You can see that now it's sorted in descending order. Alright, I know what you're thinking, nothing super special. But what if we also have a client listing? And that client listing, we also want to use the sort by array. So we want to sort the client listing by first name and last name. Well, what we could do is we could take the scope here, we could copy and paste it in our client.php, and that would actually give us the results that we want. But then we're duplicating code and it will get messy at some point. So actually what we're going to do is create a trait for this. I'll explain it in a second. Underneath app, let's create a new folder called traits. And then within that folder, we'll create a new file. And this file is called order by array.php. Now, a trait is just like a class, and we've kind of covered this on Lair Academy before. We'll just start with our namespace, which is app traits, and instead of writing class, we'll write trait, and then the trait name, order by array. Now what we can do is we could go back to our user.php, and we could take this entire scope, cut it out, come back to our trait, and paste it in. Now the only thing left is to tell our models to use this trait. So if we save everything and we come back to users, we're going to get an error, and that just says order by array doesn't exist. That's because we're not telling the model to actually use that trait. What we'll do at the top is we'll import that trait itself, say app/traits/order by array. And once we have imported it, you can see right here we have a use statement and we're using notifiable. Well, let's also use order by array. So basically what this is doing is it's pulling in any functions that are within this trait, and it just happens to be our scope. So now if we save everything and we switch back to Chrome and we refresh, you can see that everything's working. We could even go so as far as going back to our controller, changing the sort order of city, and giving it another refresh, and you can see it's working once again. Now back to the client's issue. Remember, we wanted to sort based on first name and last name. Well, because we have a trait here, we can easily pull it into a whole bunch of different models. So we can copy our use statement or our import statement and switch over to client.php, and we'll just import it. And then within the class itself, we'll just say use order by array. Now, the only thing left to do is to check out our client controller and hook it up. So if we open up client controller, you can see just like the users, we're just grabbing all of the clients. What we're going to be doing is importing an array here just to save some time. We'll just paste it at the top, and we'll change city to first name, state to last name, and then let's get rid of the country because we don't need it. And just like we did with the users, instead of writing all of the orders, we'll use our trait, which is order by array, and we'll pass in the sort by, which is based on our class, and then we have to tell it to get the data. Now if we save everything, we'll switch back to Chrome and refresh. You can see that the first name is being sorted, the last name is being sorted, so everything works. We could also test it out by changing the last name sort to descending, and if we refresh, you can see the last name changes. And just like any other sort by, we could do a single column and it will still work the exact same as just using a single sort by. Now, some of the pros of using this method here is we're no longer appending a whole bunch of order bys on our model. It just looks a little cleaner, and also we have a whole bunch of reusable code now. So anytime we want to use this order by array on a different model, all we have to do is import it, tell the model to use it, set up the array, and then we're good to go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.